Just a heads up before the video starts, this content is going to be a little different than my normal stuff. So if you do enjoy it or have any feedback at all, comments, likes, and most importantly hitting the sub button if you want to see more of these, would be very much appreciated to let me know if I should make more videos like this, as it's what you guys actually want to see, and I'm not just pissing off my audience. And without further ado, here's the video. So it's that time again. The time where Konami puts all content releases on hold for half a month so we can grind our way through the train wreck of an event known as the KC Cup. So for those of you who have never experienced a cup before, I'll give you a brief rundown of how it works. So the cup is broken down into two stages. The first stage starts 10 days before the second, and in that time you can grind your way through a miniature ranked ladder, gaining a buttload of gems along the way, to reach dual level max, at which point you'll qualify to play in stage 2 of the event. And this is where I recommend most of you stop playing. Stage 2 lasts 3 days and consists of a point-based ranking system that will start you off at 0 points, and as you win games, your points will increase, and as you lose games, decrease, matching you against players with similar point totals along the way. And by the end of the event, the person with the highest amount of points will receive the grand prize of a ticket to compete in the World Championship event. By now, you've probably already read the title of this video, and therefore know my take on the event is clearly not going to be a good one. But before we cover the negatives, let me just cover all the good things this event actually does. So first and foremost, the most important thing this event does is provide a competitive event for the player base, as for most people who have a competitive mindset, the King of Games grind every month most definitely does not cut it, especially considering there is no actual ranking inside of King of Games to show where you stand amongst other high rated players, so you can never truly know how good you are or how good reaching COG actually makes you. Which, to be fair, COG is probably designed this way on purpose, as it can make a lot of players feel really good about their own skill due to reaching the highest rank possible, without ever hitting them with a large number saying, hey, you are the 20,000th person to hit King of Games, which obviously makes the rank seem a lot less exclusive. So this event can try and help fill the void a lot of competitive players look for, with an actual ranked ladder to climb through, amongst other high rated players to prove where they stand amongst them. Second thing the event does really well is Stage 1. Stage 1 is honestly fantastic, and I really find it hard to find ways to fault it, as it's essentially an easier rank grind that will take a lot less time due to less wins needed for a rank up, demotion protection, etc. And it provides a rather insane amount of gems for just competing in the event. So this appeals to just about everyone. It appeals to veteran players who just want more gems and don't want to have to spend too much time grinding before the second part of the event begins, and appeals to the newer or not as experienced players that want to take part in the cup as well, but probably won't have a chance to get a decent placing in stage 2, so the achievement becomes simply reaching dual level max. Third thing the event does well is of course the World's Invite. A grand prize like this for an in-game based event is something you rarely see in any other game. Normally prizes for in-game events would be some nice cosmetics, maybe some nice in-game currency, but this event has a grand prize that can get you invited, and by invited, I mean an all expense paid trip, to compete in a real tournament held in another country. That prize is obviously insane, and drives the competition in the game quite a lot, making it something a lot of people find value in competing for. Now let's move on to the downsides of the cup, which in my opinion vastly outweigh the positives. First and foremost, the Stage 2 grind. This is by far the most terribly designed part of the cup. This stage of the cup is active for 3 days, and the point system rewards people for playing more, and therefore, for whatever reason, whether it be work, school, sports, whatever, any real life responsibilities happen to fall upon one of these 3 days, you are immediately put at a massive disadvantage, as you can now no longer really take part in the grind. Even if there isn't a responsibility that falls upon one of these 3 days, that's 3 days straight, 72 hours minus sleep time, you are expected to play in the event. I can't think of any other tournament anywhere that expects this kind of commitment. At the very least, there should be some downtime where everyone can take a break without being stressed on how many ranks they might drop if they stop to go play and go get some lunch. The other huge downside of this being a continuous 3-day event is it simply supports major cheating, in the form of account sharing. Now they have measures in play to stop people swapping your accounts between different locations, so it can be a lot harder to account share, but if you have access to a remote desktop or simply have a friend IRL who can also play Duel Links at a decent level, you can now remove sleep from the equation, as you can simply play the game in shifts to maintain a decent ranking. My next complaint is the point system itself. This system doesn't necessarily support the highest win rate player or the highest win rate deck. To put it simply, the system is much more rewarding to those who play more games with a decent win rate than to those that play fewer games with an insane win rate. Someone who chooses to play a much slower deck that takes a ton of brain power and has a 65% win rate over 200 games will most likely lose out to someone who simply has an extremely fast brain dead deck that can rack out 1000 games with a 57% win rate. Now you tell me of the two people I just mentioned, who was the more skilled player who deserved the higher ranking. A prime example of this is the April KC Cup, where two masked hero decks won the event and many other hero decks topped. And this is a deck known for being an OTK style quick win deck that either loses when you interrupt its combo or wins if you don't. Now don't get me wrong, masked heroes were a good deck and still are, but in a normal tournament format they were only considered tier 3, as shown via the Duel Links meta tier list at the time, which they were set to tier 3. So obviously a really good deck, but definitely nothing you could expect to take a ton of the top placings, let alone the top 2 spots of a major event. Now because of the KC Cup, the next installment of the DLM tier list boosted them up a tier, as it takes the KC Cup results into account, only to demote them soon after due to poor performance when forced to play in the normal tournament format again. And if you want even more examples, both Lunalight and Drag Unity, again both extremely fast decks, both finished in the top 100, and these decks were not even considered tiered and had no place being played in a tournament meta, but due to the shitty speed format, were able to finish highly. A huge factor in this is a change they made to the cup limiting the amount you could lose and capping the minimum amount you could gain. So since this is an MMR based system, if you beat someone with a higher rating than you would gain more points. Likewise, if you would lose to someone with a lower rating than you would lose more points. This meant that once you reach the very top of the ladder, it will become a real struggle to gain points, as majority of your matches will be against people lower rating than you. So even with a 50% win rate, you would drop down as every loss will be worth way more than every win. This is how it should be, as it meant there was kind of a soft cap at the top of the ladder where nobody could really grind into oblivion, and there'll be no way to catch up. Now since they added the cap of 1200 a loss and 1000 a win, the highest rank has been inflated drastically, with the bunch making the grind a lot more painful for those with less time or for those that want to play slower decks. My final complaint, and probably the most important complaint for the general community, is Stage 2 rewards. Now this isn't a complaint about, oh, Duel Links just doesn't get enough gems. It's a complaint for there is literally no prize for anyone that doesn't finish first place. There are 5 prizes given out for Stage 2. There is obviously the World's Invite, which is given to one singular person. There is tickets, not dream tickets, just tickets, which to be honest I find really insulting considering people who place in top 100 more than likely have been playing the game a little while and therefore have every single relevant card the tickets offer. Not that there's a whole lot of relevant cards that the tickets offer in the first place. There is gold, which again, if you've been playing the game a little while, is about as useful as a currency as Scud is as a character. And the final 2 rewards are title and icon. And these 2 final rewards are basically the only rewards that you are playing for, which is absurd for multiple reasons. As far as I'm aware, these titles are not actually permanent and will be replaced during future cups, or at least pushed back, meaning you'll be rewarded for something that you can possibly lose. I'm not 100% sure on this though, so hopefully someone in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. And as for the icons, unless you place in the top 100, you'll get the same bronze icon every single other player was given. So someone who placed in 101 will receive the same prize as someone who placed 10,001, which to me is completely insane. Why is there such a high margin set? I get there should be an exclusivity for placing high, but why are there not simply more icons for achieving top 500 or top 1000? Why is there only bronze, silver, gold? Couldn't they simply add iron, diamond, platinum, that kind of stuff? And for people who are in my boat, who have already reached top 100, there is literally no other reward outside of hitting top 10, as I already have a silver icon. Sure, the icon's date and year changes, but it's still just a silver icon, so for me to hit top 100, but not quite finish top 10, would feel like absolute shit, as I would essentially be rewarded with nothing. Technically, there is one other reward for placing in top 500, and that is the eligibility to compete in the Stage 2 portion of the World Championship Qualifiers event when that is held. But once again, that event has a Stage 1 rank up system just like every other KC Cup, so you can just grind straight to dual level max to reach stage 2 anyway. So that renders the reward completely useless unless you're just really lazy and don't want to grind it despite the amount of gems it would give you. So now that I've given my complaints, let's talk solutions. So the first problem is the grind being way too long and too much of a commitment. An easy solution would just be to reduce the length of the event. I don't like this solution too much, as even a 48-hour grind seems kinda long to me, but it's certainly better than 3 full days. Another more complex solution would be a cap on the amount of duels you can play, so let's say 200 for the whole event. That way, people wouldn't be able to simply speedrun the event and slow decks could catch up. Obviously though, this does come with some issues, like people at the higher ranks may have trouble finding matches, since a lot of people would reach the cap and stop playing, but I think if the cap is set appropriately, this shouldn't be too much of an issue with the player base Duel Links has. Next issue is the point system itself. This issue is also fixed by capping the amount of games someone can play, so the higher win rates shine over those who can just spam out a ridiculous amount of games. But honestly, an easy solution would just be to revert the god-awful change where the cap on the amount of points you could lose and cap on the minimum you could gain was added. This would just stop people climbing to oblivion for starters. At the very least, if you don't want to change the format of the cup, just give us another PvP style event or game mode for those who are more interested in the more common tournament style formats with a bracket, side decks, best of threes, stuff like that. For people who are more interested in the quality of games rather than the quantity of games they play. And finally, rewards. This one should be an easy fix, with so many solutions available. Just give me something for climbing. Whether that be some gem value, change the tickets to dream tickets, more diversity on the icons, so like I said earlier, rather than bronze, silver, gold, add iron, plat and diamond. Card sleeves. They could even make brand new rewards, like you unlock new taunts for different characters exclusive to each KC Cup. There is honestly infinite possibilities for Konami to choose from. Just anything is better than adding to my 12 million gold or 90 plus tickets I never use. Alright, well this video is a little different than my normal stuff. Sorry if you're not really a fan of the ranty style content, as I know it's not the normal content you've subbed for. But let me know what you think of it anyway in the comments below, and feel free to leave a like and hit that sub button if you did enjoy. I do quite enjoy making these ranty style videos addressing problems with the game, so I don't mind making more of them if this video does alright. Also, let me know your thoughts on the cup. Am I wrong? Do you guys actually enjoy stage 2? Am I missing something? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.